After traveling thousands of kilometers, I have finally reached Villador. Now I can look for my sister. Hey guys, what's up?
He's not wearing a biomarker.
Let's kill the filthy
A what?
outsider.
Wait, no, please, no, please, no!
Sometime later.
Hello, Aiden, my old pal, old buddy, old pal. I see you once again done all the work and taken the radio station. Whatever you do, don't give it to the PK, please. They'll get stronger and probably kill a lot of us.
Hard money.
PK for life, bitch. Oh, Dying Light 2. You pulled me into your story with your world building, immersive environments, fun combat, and the best damn parkour system in any game. Then you took that well crafted premise, brimming with potential, and unapologetically threw it off a cliff. Let me take you on the wonderfully engaging story Dying Light 2 built for me, right before dousing it in petrol and setting it on fire. I came to Villador, the largest surviving human city, looking for my long lost sister. All the flashbacks I keep getting about her gives me a splitting headache.
Aiden, Aiden. Aiden, Aiden. Aiden. Aiden, come on. Aiden, Aiden. Aiden, Aiden. Aiden, come on. Aiden.
I therefore wanna find her and kill her to achieve some peace and quiet in my head. Then I can go back to my vagabond life of getting high on mushrooms and old beer. I first came across the lovely people of the bazaar, who wasted no time in taking me to their town square, raising me up so I could introduce myself to everyone. I couldn't really talk much since I was choking on my own words, but I'm sure I'll get to catch up with them later. I get saved from the awkward situation by a man named Hakon, whose divorce rate is as high as Qatar's labor abuse. I soon get involved in a murder mystery to find the killer of a PK commander. Just about everyone is a suspect, but we need to find evidence linking the killing to the survivor. Wait, slow down. I need to first introduce all the major players of the city. There are 3 factions in Villador, existing in an uneasy balance of power. The survivors, being the largest but the most unorganized group. Then we have the peacekeepers, an authoritarian militia that likes to cosplay as the army. And finally, we have the renegades. I'm guessing you can already tell what these guys are all about. They are one-dimensional anarchists seeming to be comprised entirely of psychopaths. There appears to be a legal requirement to have one such cartoonishly evil group in every post-apocalyptic scenario.
Sweet. Love you too.
Why do we only have idiots working for us?
One of the main decisions to be made in this game is to choose between the PK and the survivors. There is just one problem with that though. This is how the survivors make their first impressions.
Hey, I should beat you down for that. Look at Mr. Nosy here. Watch where you stick that nose, Pilgrim, or you'll lose it.
Sophie, can we talk?
Don't hurt him, Herman. Let him talk.
Aiden, right? You and Lawan can get the fuck out of my face now. I got more important things in my mind.
Daniel, I've heard a lot about you.
Oh, really? So good or bad things?
Nanahiria, Gajo. Medic have Kyla Van Lupino tut. Sarchawa Vesawa Dukhawawa Tutiknok Fu Bakrano Merak Havatut Fchuvava Dre Tutarvutsnia.
The peacekeepers, on the other hand, come across as respectful, disciplined, tempered, and look like they can get shit done. The survivors' leader, Carl, looks like a hobo and preaches some Gandhian bullshit about not rebuilding. It's quite hilarious what ends up happening to him just after meeting him. Some local bandits had been causing a lot of issues for the survivors, and this brilliant pacifist had the bright idea to go and negotiate with them. I don't know about you, but to me, this face does not scream trustworthy diplomat. Sure enough, Carl gets captured immediately and taken hostage. Who could have possibly seen this coming? On the other hand, we have Jack Matt, the seasoned military leader who has established the peacekeepers as a formidable fighting force. Additionally, they hold a strategically important tunnel which leads to the city center, where we have to go. Anyway, back to the murder mystery. I didn't really care who the killer was. I just made a deal with Ator, the acting commander, to be allowed passage through the tunnel into the city. I ended up pinning the murder on this walking shit stain. As a bonus, he escaped and tried to kill me. That worked out well for him.
Now, I'll stick your head on a pike and wave it at your buddy Ader.
Get out of my way. Last warning.
Oh no, I'm so scared I think I just pooped my drawer. I wish I had killed Lucas. But now I think, fuck him. What matters is, I get to kill you.
A few moments later.
By now, I'm sure you can guess that I support the PKs like the Argentinians support their football teams. With violence. Sure, they may be hard asses that kill civilians from time to time, but you know what? F the survivors and f those civilians. I did not meet a single redeeming character from their side. Anyways, I get to the city, meet Jack Matt, and all of a sudden, renegades are attacking everywhere. Apparently, Jack Matt had watched too much Dr. Stone and prioritized leveling up communication to beat the renegades, instead of, developing superior weapons of war like they were trying to do. His strategy to achieve this was to stage an attack on the VNC Tower, the tallest and the most heavily infested building in the city. The same strategy had previously been attempted by an elite unit called the Night Runners. Just one problem though. They all died. I would say this is the point in the story where you first begin to notice that the plot has started going off the rails, and the game starts to remind you more and more of Dying Light 1, not in a good way. I played the first Dying Light game a lot, probably spent more than 100 hours on it, but there was one fatal flaw that held that game down like a rock tied to a drowning child. The characters. Their writing and dialogues made me simply beg for the sweet release of their deaths. Well, at least that game didn't disappoint me there. However, I am pleased to report that Dying Light 2 has fixed this issue. Well, not really. Allow me to elaborate. Each of the main characters have a past, which explains their behavior and feeds into their aspirations. Jack Matt, after all he has achieved and all he has built, he is dying of illness. And now he wants to leave behind a legacy. To have dominion, peace over Villedor. Lawan is one consumed by her past, obsessing over her kill list. Just beneath her exterior of teenage angst, you can see the charming and fun-loving woman she used to be. Hakon has dated, married and f***ed every other woman in Villedor and needs to promptly leave the city before one of them stabs him in the neck for his betrayal. And now, the biggest improvement from the first game. The villain, a GRE research scientist from the past who has now become a certified beast. The game sets him up to be a powerful foe to be feared from his introduction scene to chases in which you can only run from him. The game makes him to be an unstoppable force which you cannot fight. While characters can be interesting enough to get you invested, the plot becomes bipolar and decides to beat them into a disappointing mess. To elaborate further, I'll need to enter spoiler territory. Do keep in mind that there are 6 choices that affect the ending, and mine is just one of them. The characters are set up well enough, with a backstory and motivations, but the game falls flat on its face when it comes to growing those characters and rounding them off. Essentially, there is no payoff. None of the characters get to progress and grow. The plot doesn't let them. Lawan ends up being a cheap, unfinished knockoff of the bride from Kill Bill. The bride finishes her kill list, and therefore gives the audience a sense of catharsis. Lawan, on the other hand, doesn't pursue it with single-minded determination and largely seems to forget about it. She doesn't seem to struggle with its moral ambiguity and often takes matters into her own hands, making brash decisions such as rushing an enemy stronghold all by herself. She ends up eliminating none of the people on her kill list, puts Villedor in danger of being flooded by the Colonel, and is ultimately completely useless in the final fight. The only thing she ends up achieving is blowing herself up with a bunch of missiles if you take that ending. And if you save her, that's the shit ending, where she leaves you and probably goes and drinks herself to death. That brings me to the biggest crime this game commits against its own characters. It makes them ass. Absolutely suck on screen. This happens to all the major characters. The story builds them up as dangerous hard asses with a history of kicking ass. But whenever they're on screen, they're completely fucking useless. Yeah, it happens with Lawan and just about everyone else. But what really pissed me off was when this happened to my boys, Lieutenant Rowe and the squad. For ages they built up this tower mission, and it took like an hour to get the generators online to make the lifts operational. Then you finally enter the elevator with your squad, ready to fight side by side with whatever monstrosities await you at the top floor. And then everyone dies in a cutscene. Are you fucking kidding me? And it's not even volatiles. It's these bloated these suicide bomber zombies. What a joke. This is what took out the oh so legendary Night Runners. Did they forget to bring fucking throwing knives? What a complete waste of such epic potential. There could have been a fight against overwhelming odds. With soldiers dropping dead one by one, Ro and Aiden will finally make a desperate run for it, until they arrive at a chasm that can only be crossed with a Night Runner tool they found nearby. Knowing Aiden is the better climber, Ro screams at Aiden to make his escape, as he charges headlong into the horde of volatiles, sacrificing himself for the mission, for the peacekeepers, and for his friend. Instead, we get death by bloated zombies. A very important part of developing bonds with characters in a video game are journeying with them. Cutscenes alone aren't enough. Fighting side by side with them and having them assist you on your adventure is key in developing a sense of camaraderie. The weird thing is, AI for friendly characters has been developed. For some reason, it's barely put to use throughout the entire game, but whenever it is a breath of fresh air. You feel like you're not alone, that there are others there to back you up and help you out. Just because of that, these 3 peacekeepers who were side characters seemed more interesting than the entire main cast. Coming back to the main plot, I hand over the VNC tower to the peacekeepers, and what do you know? Jack Matt's plan actually works out. There's an influx of new recruits to the Peacekeeper headquarters. With their freshly bolstered ranks, the Peacekeepers are able to drive out the renegades from the city. It's mostly all downhill from here, so I'll sum it up for you. Attack Renegade Stronghold. The Colonel kills himself with the only gun in the game, and for some reason, we do not pick it up. Waltz wants to destroy the city with GRE missiles, even though the GRE is supposed to be the global relief effort. Why does it have missiles? Find Waltz. Beat Waltz. Thrice. Lawan dead. Sister dead. Matt dead. Back on the road to get high on mushrooms and probably become a super zombie, leaving Villador in very capable hands. Dying Light 2's gameplay and environments are a very strong foundation for the game and its plot to be built upon. It's too bad that the plot they do build on it is like a shanty leaking with plot holes and inhabited by partially completed characters who have too much screen time and very little impact. I'm sure the multiple delays the game faced before launch has something to do with why the game's plot fell apart in the later half. Despite its many pitfalls, the game is still incredibly fun to play, especially in co-op. Also, I somehow managed to break my game's difficulty by coming across a stash of level 7 weapons, when my enemies were just level 3, allowing me to 1 or 2 shot most of them, even on the hard difficulty. I waited for this game for a very long time. Even though the plot and characters become a disappointment like the first game, it still succeeds as a sequel by improving in every single department. And frankly, there is no other game like this. Blazing across the rooftops with superhuman parkour, obliterating hordes of zombies with a massive arsenal and a variety of tools, and just hauling ass when a howler spots you and starts a chase. Adrenaline coursing through your veins as the chase level keeps on increasing. One can tell that an enormous amount of effort has gone into making this game. With just a little more direction, we could have had a masterpiece on our hands. I can't help but love it and recommend it for what it truly is, a zombie killing parkour game. Good night and good luck.